starting with what it looks like. Here's a circle, okay? My radius goes from the center to the edge of the circle. And remember, your radius is half of the diameter. That's the first thing we need to remember for today's note. So we've talked about that before. So let's just write it down. Radius is equal to half of the diameter. Okay? That's very important. All right, the next thing that is important for our equation is the center. So the center of the circle, now this is fairly new, is going to be this ordered pair HK. And this is important because it's part of our formula, okay? And of course, the radius is just R. All right, so let's see what the formula looks like. I'm going to write it right here where it says standard form. Remember, formulas are like recipes, so you have to follow it exactly how it is. So we're going to start with a parentheses. And then inside it's going to say X minus H, close parentheses. Then we have a squared, okay, plus parentheses Y minus K, close parentheses, squared, equals your radius squared. Okay, so lots of stuff going on here. Please make sure you have it written down correctly. That way you know in the future that you're writing it correctly. Now, this is the thing. With these equations, all we're doing is writing the equation. There's no solving. There's no find x. No, this is just writing the equation of a circle based on the center, HK, and the radius. So all we're doing is plugging stuff in. So where are we going to be plugging stuff in? We're plugging stuff in here at the H. Oops, sorry. I'm going to put arrows so that way you know exactly where. The H, the K, and the radius. Okay? Now, here's a little side note remark that I need you to write down. Out of H, K, and R, the radius, H, K, and R, H and K have negatives here, okay? This is the ones you need to be careful with. So we're going to write a little remark. Because when you have two negatives, what does that equal? Two negatives equals a positive. So be careful. I'm just going to write that here. Two negatives make a positive. Be careful. Okay? And you'll see what that looks like once we start. All right, so just write that little note for yourself. Two negatives equals a positive, so be careful. Okay? All right, I'm going to get started. So, like I said, you're just writing the equation. We're writing it. Write the equation. Okay, so let's follow it like a recipe. Now, the first one says my center is 4, -3. So if I had a graph, that's where the center would be. So I'm going to label everything, okay? My center is H and K. My radius is 4. All right. I'm going to copy this over here so I can have a closer view. Okay. So like a recipe, parentheses, X minus, what's next? H. So what's my H? 4. X minus 4 squared equals, parentheses, Y minus a -3. So this is the one we need to be careful for. If I do Y minus -3, that turns to positive. So don't put two negatives, put a plus. And I also messed up here. Plus squared equals my radius squared. So my radius is 4. What is 4 squared? 16. And that's it. Okay. All right, let's try another one. Remember your center is HK. We know we're going to have to square the radius. So what is 2 squared? 4. Okay. All right, let's go. Parentheses x minus your h. My h is 0, so we don't have to write anything. If it's 0, you're not adding anything or changing the number. So y minus, what's my k? 4, close parentheses, squared, equals your radius squared, which is 4. Okay. Again, I'm following this formula right here. Okay. All right, x1, x minus, what's my h? My h is -1, so this is not going to be minus. What is it going to be? 2 negatives make a positive. So plus 1 squared plus y, and then your k is 2 minus 2, close it, squared, equals my radius squared. 7 squared equals 7 times 7, 49. Okay. All right. Okay. The fourth one says my center is at the origin. So this is a little algebra 1 term. Where's my ordered pair if I'm at the origin of the graph? What ordered pair is that? If you're at the origin, you're at 0, 0. And then they gave me the diameter is 10, but I don't need the diameter. I need the radius. We know how to find it, though. How are you going to find the radius? If you have the diameter and you need the radius, you just divide by 2. Because it's half of it, so your radius is 5. But then we're going to have to square it. So what is 5 squared? 5 times 5, 25. All right, now we're ready to write the equation. So my h and my k here are both 0. So that means I don't even need to write those zeros. So it's just x squared plus y squared equals your radius squared, which is 25. Okay. Again, I didn't write any numbers here because they're both 0. All right, this time we're going to go backwards. We're going to identify the center and the radius. So we're not writing the equation. We're just identifying. Okay, so we're going backwards. They gave me the equation. I need to find the center and the radius. Okay. So this is h, k, and then this is your radius squared. But remember we talked about the negative. So if this part of the equation has a plus right here, then what was the h? It was not positive 3. What was it? It was a negative 3. And this k is just a 3 because I didn't change the sign. So my center is at -3, 3. Okay? And then this is radius squared. So the opposite of squaring is square rooting. So what's the square root of 36? 6. So my radius is 6. Because 6 times 6 equals 36. So this is your radius. Okay? All right, let's try this one. Okay, what's my h if the equation is a +2? If it was a plus, that means you change the sign, so it was a -2. If there's nothing there, what's the k? 0. Okay. And then what is the square root of 25? 5. So your radius is 5. And if you don't know your perfect squares, it's okay. Just plug it into Desmos. I'll show you on here. All right, this one says x squared and y squared. So what's your h and k? If they're both not written down, it's just 0 and 0. And then let me show you on Desmos. The square root of 9 to find our radius is 3. Because remember, we're going backwards. Okay. All right, D, H, and K. Did I change the sign for any of them? Did any of them turn positive? No, so it's just 5 and 2. And then the square root of 144 is 12. So your radius is 12. All right. So that was us going backwards. They gave us the equation. We found the center and the radius. Now, this last one is with the graph. So we're going to have to use our algebra skills for this. See if we remember. It says, given the graph, find the center, the radius, and write the equation. All right, let's start by finding the center. My HK. So here's the center. Where am I located on the grid? I'm located at 3 for the x and -4 here. All right, what about my radius? So the radius, remember, goes from the center to the edge. So how many units is that if we count? 1, 2, 3. So your radius is 3. Remember, it's the distance from the center to the edge of the circle. And you could have gone this way as well. It's 3 on each side. All right, we're ready to write the equation. Remember, this is H and K, and this is R. So following the formula like a recipe, here's the formula. Okay. I just have it there so I can see it. You don't have to write it. All right, x minus h. Sorry, let me switch colors. X minus h, which is 3 squared, plus y minus -4 turns to +4 squared equals your radius squared. What is 3 squared? 3 times 3, 9. So here's my equation. All right. Okay. All right, that is it for these notes. Do you have some space on the back to do your Delta Math? After your Delta Math, you should be good to go. Those of you that want to take the short quiz on it once you're done, you're able to. Just let me know when you're done with your Delta Math. Okay? Have a good day.